Your ideas help move this country. You are the American Innovator.
Hi everyone, Paul Akers, and welcome back to the American Innovator. You know, for the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the concept of lean wannabes. Those people that want to be lean but don't even know where to start. Well, it's been really a favorite series of mine that we've been doing, and we're going to continue that a little bit this week as well. And I really have to thank Dan, who started this whole thing off. One of our listeners typed a little email to me and said, hey, you know what, Paul? I don't even know where to get started, man. There's chaos everywhere around me, and you talk about this stuff and make it sound like it's so easy, and it's not easy for people like me. So I want to talk about a couple other things too, because again, I got so many great videos. Chris in Montreal was listening, and he came up with a, I can't say it, box for his dog, and he shot me a great video. And you're watching probably a little clip of that video right now to see how his dog has a very specific place to take a dump. And then Chris also did one on a lean garden shed that he did, which was an awesome job as well. And then I got so many great ones. But then Ashley in the UK who's listening, he is awesome as well. He owns a business that he took over for his dad, and he doesn't know anything really about this business, and he found out about 2 Second Lean and started reading the book and started implementing all these great changes at his ladder company business in the UK, and he sends me videos, and I'm just like looking at these videos, I'm going, Ashley, you're awesome. You totally get it 100%. And it's so fun to have and see people begin to see waste and then eliminate the waste through continuous improvement, small incremental steps, no big flow charts, no spreadsheets, no big graphs, none of that stuff. Consistently, every day, improving things. Ashley, awesome job. And then I got emails down from Luis and Fernando down in Guatemala, and they're amazing too. They read 2 Second Lean, and they're making improvements down there at Rayovac, and they're doing a great job. Big world-class company. And it's just encouraging to see how the message of 2 Second Lean and the message of continuous improvement, the message of keeping it simple, the message of making it so the average normal person can get this is pretty relevant. And that's probably because I view myself as a average normal person. So I think at the root, that's why it's successful. And so I think that's a critical element. And then we also got some great videos from Sam over in Israel. Sam did a morning meeting video from when I was over in Israel speaking, and that really came out cool. And then I got some more from more good emails from Israel as well. Omer sent an email and said, you know, what happens, Paul, when you let your employees start leading the morning meeting and it's kind of boring and it's not very good? And my response is, that's the job of a leader. The job of a leader is to teach and train people so that they're not boring and that they learn how to express themselves with passion and emotion and to have energy in their voice and to look people in the eyes and not look down like this when they're making a presentation and to speak like they care and love the subject they're speaking about. Now, that doesn't happen overnight. That's the result of a leader spending his life teaching and training people. That is the role of leadership, to teach and train people. It is not to cast lofty visions. It is not to give all these great speeches about how we're going to conquer the world. It's the nuts and bolts to teach and train people. And the best analogy I give of this is a relationship between parents and children. What is parenting really all about? Parenting is really all about teaching and training children. Is it hard work? It's super hard work. Is it always fun and glamorous? It's rarely fun and glamorous. But when your children get it, and you teach and train them, and they do a great job, you just kind of go, wow, this is magical. This is the magical part about what real leadership is. When you spend your life, when you're dedicated to teaching and training people, actually taking a person who's here and raising them up to here, outrageous stuff can happen. I'll give you a great example with my son. You know, he's out of college now. He's out of school now, out of high school, and he's not going to college right away. He loves to work with his hands. And I wanted to teach him how to work in my yards. And I've showed you pictures of my yards before. They are outrageous. You know, that's my opinion. I love my yards. And I told my son, you know, your job is to take care of the yards. Yes, 8 hours a day. Can you imagine having yards that require 8 hours a day worth of work? Well, my son is doing this every day, 8 hours a day, and it's monstrous. I have 2.5 acres of meticulously maintained yards, and it's a lot of work to take care of him. And I'll be honest with you, in the beginning he was grumbling and complaining, like, what do you want me to do now? What's next project? I gotta have an idea what I'm doing. Now, he just does it. You know why? Because at the end of the day, he sits back and he says, I did that. And that is amazing because I spent the time to teach him and train him what it means to be a master gardener, what it means to have an eye for detail, and be meticulous about the way you do things. And now he's proud of it. I remember when I was a cabinet maker, one of my favorite things to do was I built cabinets and I built furniture, and I would stand back after I finished the project and I would say to myself, I built that. That is awesome. It was the greatest feeling in the world to see a gorgeous piece of furniture, a beautiful chair, a rocking chair, whatever it was, and say, I built that. I took raw lumber and I built that. Well, that took a lot of time. It took a lot of teaching and training. Thank you, Bob Taylor. Bob Taylor, who really taught me the art of woodworking, because I worked for Bob Taylor when I was 18 to 20 years old, part of building the first 2,000 guitars for Taylor Guitars. It was a breathtaking experience, a life-changing experience, and to this day, all I can say is thank you, Bob Taylor. I would have never been able to do what I've done in my life if that man would not have taken the time to teach and train me all the fine skills and nuances of marquetry, inlay, kerfing, bending wood, finishing. All the great techniques that I know all came from Bob Taylor, teaching and training. And Bob really nurtured me and did a great job on that. So it's an important concept. So that's kind of going to wrap on this week's show. We talked about so many different things, the power of teaching and training, the power of being humble, the power of constantly praising. All right, that's this week's American Innovator. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. A lot of good subject stuff to talk about and a lot of stuff that I'm very passionate about. I've got tons more stuff I could talk about. All the great information, all the great emails. I'm just scrolling through them right here. Derek sent me a great article on the New Yorker magazine, The Cheesecake Factory. I will probably talk about that next week because that was a killer one. I love what Derek sent. And then I've got a whole bunch. Tony made a bunch of improvements. Chad, his sheet rack, good. I've got all these great listener improvement videos that were sent to me from all over the world. And we're going to start listing those on the American Innovator as well as on FastCap's website. And it's going to be under Lean Listener Improvement Videos. And it'll be listed 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a little caption, cabinet making, fixing the drawer, whatever it is. Anytime you send an improvement to me, we're going to list it out there. And then also the cool thing is we're going to give you 25 bucks because if you send me a pretty legitimate video, just show me before and after, we're going to give you a $25 credit on FastCap's website. You can go and buy Kaizen foam, whatever you want to help you out. I love it. And here's the important thing I want to stress on this whole thing. You may think to yourself, again, oh, I'm taking advantage of Paul. I feel uncomfortable doing that. $25, that's a lot of money and all that. Think of it this way. You are helping other people because when other people see your improvements, it energizes them. And I'm going to end the show with one more great story. And I said I was going to end it 5 minutes ago, but now you got me going. So here we go. So my assistant, Michelle, is at a sit-down desk. You've seen my desk. It's stand-up. I stand up all day long. It's really awesome. Of course, I'm sitting down when I'm recording the show, so not really all day long, but when I record the show, I sit down. Anyways, Michelle walks up to me and says, Paul, I really want to stand up because, of course, people that stand up for a living live 5 years longer than people that sit down. So it's not really good to sit down all the time. Anyway, so I said, well, that's cool, Michelle. So I went ahead and raised Michelle's desk up, cobbled it together, just put some plywood, raised it up about 6 or 7 inches so she could stand up and start to work. Interestingly enough, as soon as I did that for Michelle, what happened to the other people in the office? Then Jenny and Sandy came up to me and said, I want to stand up. Look at the influence people have when they improve. That's the power of these improvement videos. You are not just helping yourself by getting the $25. You're not just helping yourself by your environment improving. You're stimulating and inspiring people around the world who's watching the show about all the awesome things when we create a culture of continuous improvement. We'll see you next week on the American Innovator.
It's
The American Innovator has been brought to you by FastCap. To hear more, just go to theamericaninnovator.com.